This is a video to guide you while you're doing your different types of data assignment. I'll be discussing the details of what I expect from you and also give you an example to help you get started. So here's where we start. The assignment on the calendar is right here. So everything we're going to be doing is on the spreadsheet, but I'm going to look at the instructions first. So at the top of the page, we have the question you'll be answering. This question, I'm just going to read it for you. All kinds of situations lead to information that we can look at as data. Some of this data has patterns. Please visually display the blue data in the spreadsheet attached to the assignment. Okay, so that's the first thing. Visually display the blue data. Then, compare and contrast the three sets of data. How are they similar? How are they different? That's the second thing you'll be doing. And the third thing is, use patterns to extrapolate the data in the yellow cells. Alright, so our task is graph the data, look at the different graphs, fill in the yellow cells. Now that we know our goal, let's open up our Excel spreadsheet. So your Excel may look a little different from mine if you have a Mac or if you have a different version of Excel. But what you'll be doing is going to be the same. So if there's something that I do that you can't figure out how to do, you can send me an email or you can ask me during class, and I'll be happy to explain it to you. So all our data has been entered, and the cells that we need to graph are colored in blue. And that's true for each of our data sets. So I'm going to get you started by graphing half of the first example. So I'm going to go all the way through the first example with half the data. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to visually display this information using a scatter plot. So I went to Insert, Scatter. Yours might say Marked Scatter. Now I'm going to label the axes. So this is our time in minutes, and this is our distance in kilometers. Grow this a little bit so you can see it more clearly. For our title, Carolyn Rotich is the name of the runner, so I'm going to call it Caroline 2013 New York City Half Marathon. Our axes start from 0. They're labeled. We have a title. Our chart is looking pretty good. So we finished our first task. So let's look here. Visually display using a scatter plot the blue data. We've done that. I'm going to have you compare and contrast the three sets of data on your own because it requires graphing all three sets first. But you're going to answer how they're similar and how they're different. Now I'm going to talk about how to use patterns to extrapolate the data in the yellow cells. So let's go back to Excel. Our yellow cells, they're each asking us a question about the data. So let's take a minute to think about what it is that they're asking. It's asking if the distance we traveled, or the distance that Caroline traveled was 1 kilometer, how long would that take her? So we look down at the distance. 1 kilometer would be about here. It seems like our data is in a straight line here. I'll tell you right now that these other data sets are not in a straight line, so look carefully at what they're doing. This one is in a straight line. So it looks like the data plot would go about here. So I'm going to call that 1, maybe 3. So we'll call that 3. Now this is 100. So we go 100. It's going to be up there. It's going to be pretty high. It's tough to tell. Let's put a guess of 150 for right now. Let's try 150. Okay. So to see how our guesses are, we're going to pull this down and we're going to see if everything fits in a line. So our 3 looks to fit in very nicely. But this point out here seems a little off. If we were doing a straight line, it wouldn't hit that point. So let's see, maybe making it bigger will help. So 200. Okay, that's nice. 300 maybe. Oh, that's even better. So we've got a straight line coming out right through there. And we're going to talk later about how to make this more accurate. But for now, that looks pretty good. So we've got this other yellow cell right here. And what this is asking us is, how far would we go if we traveled for 120 minutes or 2 hours? So we look out here, okay, 120 minutes. What do you think our distance is going to be? It's going to be around maybe 40 kilometers. So let's type that in there. All right, outstanding. So we've got our 3 different yellow cells filled in. So I'm going to leave it up to you to finish this for the cooling water, frequency and string length, and the other half of this half marathon. We'll go over this in class on Monday like we do with all of our activities like this. But I want you to Dropbox it before you come in.